Hi, and welcome to Conversations with CICS. Today, I'm in conversation with my lovely friend and colleague, Carolyn Tailford. Hello, Carolyn.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm good. It's so nice to have time with you. And we just had some time together, didn't we? Just a few
Yeah,
weeks ago over in sunny Belfast.
for a change, it's nice to have sunshine. You must have brought it with you.
Yeah, you told me it was going to rain, and it was sunny, and it was a lovely day that we had together. And
It
we were
was.
together because we have launched our cross-border Centre of Excellence in Psychosexual and Relationship Therapy.
Which is so exciting. Can't wait to get it going and get my new trainees in so that we can actually have some psychosexual therapists here in Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland too.
Exactly. I'm so excited about the whole process. Now, you and I have been talking about this for months. Developing this. And for context, you are obviously a qualified psychotherapist in the senior tier of the SCOPED framework. And you, as a postgrad trained with CICS in your psychosexual and relationship therapy
Which was
training.
fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. So we've known one another and as colleagues. First of all, I was your teacher, you were our student, and colleagues anyway for about 4 years or so now. And in the last 6 months or so, we've really been thinking about how do we make psychosexual and relationship therapy training more accessible in Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, and I think the thing that the significant gap here, in specialist training, is becoming more and more apparent with the more clients that I see and people contacting the organisation. We see clinically is that people are experiencing very real difficulties, whether around intimacy, sexual functioning, identity, trauma, relationship breakdown. But there's very, very few practitioners locally who are trained to work at this level of complexity. And it's bad enough that there's no training, but to come from the cultural background of the north and the south of Ireland, conversations around sex, relationships, intimacy, still really restricted or influenced by, the historical and religious and societal factors here. So people don't seek help until things feel really, really entrenched. For me, having the psychosexual over here it's that bit about equity of access. People here deserve to be able to access high quality specialist support without having to travel elsewhere or work with someone who may not fully understand the cultural context they're living in. Alongside that, it's about building capacity, developing skilled, confident workforces locally who can meet those needs in a way it's very attuned and very relevant.
I couldn't agree with you more. CICS has been running for 10 years now into delivering our psychosexual and relationship therapy trainings, and we've had students from the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and they've either had to travel over to England when we had the fully in-person requirements for training attendance, or join us online, and you were able to do that. But that accessibility is reducing again, and it makes the training so difficult and expensive. So setting something up in our centre, which is near Belfast, is important for geographic accessibility. But
Absolutely.
what you're talking about there that's crucial is cultural awareness and sensitivity. And I think that's something that is central to our project, isn't it?
Absolutely. And as much as I loved my training, England-based courses are often excellent in terms of clinical content, theoretical grounding, contemporary work, but they miss the cultural nuance of here.
Yeah.
The best example I have is the one of us on St. Patrick's Day and the training and having to turn up on St. Patrick's Day night to do training when it's a bank holiday here.
Yes.
And it's small things like that. And that is a very, very small, minor thing. But there's lots of people here working very, very different specific contexts. The differences in healthcare system, differences in legislation, differences in cultural attitudes around sex and relationships, and also differences in how communities engage with therapy. We also have the additional impact of intergenerational trauma, religious influence, and more rural and close-knit dynamics were shaping people's experience and how they talk about psychosexual issues. They simply don't. So without the local contextualisation, trainees can often find themselves needing to translate what they've learned into a setting that feels quite different in practice. And that's concerning. For some of the people we've worked with, they're working in areas that are not within their skill set. So what we're trying to do is bridge that gap So people still receive high quality accredited training, but it's grounded in the reality of the communities they're actually working in and living in.
Oh, it's just so important. It would have been such a huge mistake if we just lifted our England-based course and
Mm-hmm.
added it in Northern Ireland and invited people from Northern Ireland and
Yeah.
the Republic without understanding the context and without this being locally led. This is locally led. You live in Northern Ireland, this is your culture, and you understand the culture well and the cultures of the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And our teachers will be representative of
Absolutely.
Northern Ireland and the Republic. And our materials of our established course
Mm-hmm.
will be tailored because, I mean, we stand for anti-oppressive practice here at CICS. And I can't imagine anything more colonial than just picking up the course and landing it in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Go, there you go, it's the same, isn't it? And it's not.
No, absolutely not. And that was our learning throughout it. For both of us, there are some very, very, very big differences between how we see anti-oppressive behaviour and what it looks like in England versus what it looks like in the north and the south of Ireland. They're
Yeah,
not the same.
no. And if you don't have that cultural attunement,
Mm-hmm.
you're causing harm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is important for us, isn't it, that we emphasise that this is a Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland focus-based, tailored programme, and that this is about community, local community of therapists and of provision in psychosexual and relationship therapy for Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. So it's delivered locally, accessible locally, and has impact locally, not going through that process that you describe of having to translate something
Yeah.
from England into Northern Ireland or the Republic, which obviously have significant differences themselves.
Yeah. And there's a lot of the courses here aren't tailored the way we're talking about. But there's a very big generalisation across therapy at core levels that simply miss all of that. Don't take it into consideration. Don't take into consideration even the likes of neurodivergence. I mean, they're still delivering therapy training the same way now as they did 25 years ago, 20 years ago when I trained. So we want to step that up. We want to be on point where we are now, not sitting back. Northern Ireland's only 20 years behind everywhere else. So if we can do something to bring it up to where it needs to be in the terms of therapy world, then that's what we got to do.
I think so. And I think that's where this collaboration is so powerful, isn't it? Because we are called the Contemporary Institute of Clinical Sexology, and we are contemporary. We've got a lot of understanding on anti-oppressive and fully inclusive practice in terms of things like working with disability adaptations for neurodivergence. And your centre and your charity, A Safe Space to Be Me, is an expert in some of these aspects as well, which is why this is a collaboration.
Yeah.
It isn't just CICS popping up in hiring a room and just popping up somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me more about your charity, A Safe Space to Be Me.
So I set the charity up and it'll be 10 years in April. So the charity is going to be 10 years old. We started off as a very, very small community group, just doing counselling, very, very small numbers. And very, very quickly we grew into the organisation we are now. We are the only commissioned service in Northern Ireland for adult ADHD services. As of March this year, we've been running ADHD and neurodivergent workshops and psychoeducation that meets NICE guidelines for 2 years off the back of a flippant comment a psychiatrist made when he diagnosed me. He was like, here's your medication, that's all I can do. In an ideal world, you would have this, this, and this. And he said, sure way and set that up. And it was that flippant comment that kicked the ODD in and went, well, I'll show you. And that's exactly how it rolled. And from somebody making a comment to going, okay, so let's have now 1,000 service users have been in, use the service. The outcomes are phenomenal. And that's the reason why we do this. It's beyond the services. What really matters to us is creating a space where people feel understood and not pathologized. It's taking a neuroaffirming, trauma-informed approach. And we're really focused on meeting people where they are rather than expecting them to fit into systems that weren't designed with them in mind. Also about community. We're not just delivering therapy, we're building connections and reducing isolation and creating something that feels safe, relational and human, which is the foundation for our therapy work too.
Completely. And that's where your values and the values of the organisation you've set up and our values at CICS align so beautifully, isn't it? Because they're One of the biggest joys for me career-wise is building connections and collaborations with colleagues and having those respectful collegiate relationships, as well as, of course, delivering therapy. I still practice as a therapist myself. And that community embedded spirit and relational warmth is absolutely central to everything you do too.
Absolutely. I'd sum it up very, very much in terms of community, connection, and cultural attunement. The collaboration came from recognizing that there was a genuine local need. We had lots of conversations, and then there's a real sense of that alignment and values, particularly around ethical practice, inclusivity, and high standards of training. What's really important to us is that it isn't about delivering a course, it's about building a network. A community of practitioners who feel supported, connected, and part of something ongoing. We're also really committed to have a strong local presence. As you said, local team, local understanding, and training that reflects the lived realities of people in the north and the south of Ireland. Ultimately, it's about trust. Trust in the training, trust in the collaboration, trust that we're building something that will genuinely improve both practitioners' confidence and client outcomes. So the values are summed up.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for articulating that so clearly. That's exactly where I'm at. And for me, I'm kind of the face of CICS to some extent because I'm the founder and the principal, but I've never thought of CICS as a personality-led organisation.
Yeah.
It's a team. And in this centre of excellence, the face of is team, yourself and our team that's going to be, of the culture and the cultures. I know it's, speaking in the plural because there are multiple cultures to represent and reflect and respect in Northern Ireland and in the Republic. Being able to bring something cross-border in that way is very important to me, and it being led by people who know better about their place is also important to me.
Yeah.
That's why you're the course director and the lead and I'm not.
Yeah, and then you get me who doesn't like doing videos, and Julie loves doing the videos. Yeah,
Well,
I could not be in a room delivering training and talking to clients. Put me on screen, that's totally different.
Well, I feel the same in that until COVID, I hadn't recorded myself in anything. I hadn't even used Zoom before COVID, like a lot of people.
Same here.
And we, as you know, we record our knowledge base in recorded videos at CICS so that we can keep our material constantly updated and give people constant access. And those video lectures are captioned and transcribed so they're accessible. They can, the speed can be increased for people who need to hear things at your kind of brain speed. And can be reduced for people who need things at a slower speed. So we do all of that for accessibility, but it's required me and colleagues getting used to speaking. And in terms of social media, I've only been involved in fronting any of that for about 6 months. And I can't say it's my favourite thing, but what is my favourite thing is inviting people into our school.
Yes.
And apparently you have to do something on social media to help.
Apparently so.
Apparently. So we're both reluctant camera people, but we're not egos in that way. That it's we both believe in team and relationship and collaboration, and it's what makes my heart sing.
Absolutely, and the impact. That's why we do this. It's the impact on the people. That's what it always comes back to. Those moments in the therapy room where something shifts for someone and somebody feels seen and understood. That reminds us of why we do the things we do.
Yeah.
When you can see the benefit of somebody sitting having a conversation about vaginismus or something they don't necessarily have a word for, and you can offer them, okay, this sounds like, and you can see the light bulbs going off, and it's almost like their life fits together and starts to make sense.
It's just so moving. By far, my favourite thing to do still is be the therapist.
Yeah.
And my second favourite thing to do is to work with colleagues and support the school.
Absolutely.
And I know that you love facilitating, don't you? It's one of your favourite things.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's definitely, it's a hard call which one I prefer most, whether it's client work or facilitation work. I think the facilitation work has a greater impact in terms of the amount of people at one time versus the maybe one or multi-partnered people in the room. But yeah, I absolutely love it. But yet I tell people I don't like talking to anybody.
Yeah. I say I'm naturally shy and no one believes me, but it is actually true.
Yeah.
It's actually true. I can do this extroversion thing when required.
Yeah. Yeah. But Absolutely. We can talk about sex all day, but we can't have conversations with people.
I mean, I couldn't be more excited about this project. It's really thought through, considered. It's going to be integrated. We're not launching on a whim. We've thought about this really carefully. We have a culture at CICS of inviting feedback all the way from our colleagues and our students. We're very collaborative. We're very open. As you know, having graduated our school and working with me since, we took on board that we'd completely missed the fact that it was a bank holiday. I was embarrassed because I think that's a problem with England and English culture, is that you can be a little bit like that. I'm not aware of how much difference there is across the UK, never mind between other countries of origin.
Absolutely. But that's learning for everybody. It's, as much as that was it was a joke, and it was just so coincidental it was during anti-oppressive practice.
Oh, we double whammied it, did we?
Yes, we did. We did. Yeah. But look at the outcome of that.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is now where we've got to in terms of, okay, so this thing came up during one of the classes, and now we're a year later, we're now making sure that there is an alignment between what we're delivering and making it relevant, making it specific to the geographical locations we're in. So it's not like there was a defensive position taken off, we're doing anti-oppressive practice right. It was that bit of, okay, I'll take that on the chin. I didn't consider that. Okay, so what do we do different? And that's the bit that I love and you love is, okay, so we've come up with this thing. What's the solution for this? How do we make it better?
That's my attitude is, and I can have moments of feeling a bit defensive and like, oh gosh, try my best and we still don't get it right. But I've very quickly come through that arc to, got it, understood, let's do it better. And I think that's key to CICS culture. And it's very much key to how you operate in your organization. Yeah. So this alignment is a really important one. And so we will be launching our first intake of the Psychosexual and Relationship Therapy Diploma, tailored to Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, based just outside of Belfast, in January 2027. And applications are now open, and we'll be providing links. And we have other good, exciting news too. Because we thought, what, if we're at it, we may as well properly do the full job.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
That's the phrase. So do you want to say what else is coming next year?
Yeah, so I'm absolutely delighted because, okay, so we're going to run the diploma in pluralistic psychotherapy. So we're going to have probably the only place in the north of Ireland that runs anything other than integrative training. That is hasn't moved on, hasn't evolved. Whereas what we're running is very contemporary, very, very different to what you can get here. So it's the 2-year qualifying course that people can do. There'll be a general counsellor at the end of it, or general psychotherapist, sorry. And then they have that route in to do the specialist psychosexual psychotherapy training afterwards, which is just completely mind-blowing for here. Yeah, somebody's daring to step outside the box.
And it knits everything together.
Yes.
It meets a need for contemporary training in working in the profession of counselling psychotherapy. That programme launched in England last year. Our students are heading towards the end of their first year. When that cohort gets to the end of their second year, we will be able to apply for formal course accreditation. During that year, our course at the Centre of Excellence in Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, that will start. Mm-hmm. So by the time your cohort gets to the end of their first year, we'll have formal accreditation. Totally. And that will place our students firmly in column A of the SCOPED framework, which is the framework for an agreement for levels of counselling training, because it was all quite disparate and varied before, wasn't it? So the diploma in pluralistic psychotherapy hits that first level of counsellor training. Then our specialist diploma in psychosexual and relationship therapy hits. There's the advanced practitioner level in column B. And, we've got a few plans afoot for column C, which we will talk about when they're properly landed.
Absolutely. So watch this space.
Exactly. I am delighted. Thank you for coping with having a conversation with me. And, you know, we're talking literally on a daily basis and texting every 5 minutes about our exciting project. Anyone who's interested in joining us, the process is to apply via the CICS website, and then their first point of contact after the CICS admin will be their interview with yourself. And then the whole relationship builds with you and the team over in Northern Ireland. And CICS is here to provide the materials and to scaffold the admin, so keep the centre completely robust.
Yeah.
And, you know, only good things can happen. That's what I think.
Exactly. Onwards and upwards.
Wonderful. Thank you for spending the time with me, Carolyn.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.